What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Sunday night, the wee hours of Monday morning, March 4th now, 2024. This is your AEW Revolution review. And yes, as Sting was cutting his final speech after him and Darby Allin had just defeated the Young Bucks, the pay-per-view cut. Unbelievable. But luckily, before I came on here, I wanted to scatter through the internet and try to find a review, a video if anybody was at the arena. And luckily, I did find one. I found a video. Darby Allin's going to need several stitches. He is our modern day version of Jeff Hardy. That dude is absolutely crazy. He's this generation's version of Jeff Hardy. It's insane. His sons are out there, which one of his sons was early version of Sting, and then Wolfpack version of Sting. His entrance was unbelievable. His entrance gave a lot of fans chills. I mean, that my eyes were glued to the television when that entrance was made. I'm pretty sure that was directed by Darby Allin. That whole entire video package for that entrance was done by Darby Allin. Tony Khan let him come out to his Metallica song. Lex Luger was there. Ric Flair was there. Tony Schiavone was there. They had David Crockett on the pre-show. They had Nikita Koloff there. They had Magnum TA there. They had a lot of legends there for Sting's final match. They let him go out on top. And the way AEW and Tony Khan has treated Sting, and the way that AEW has booked Sting throughout his 3-year run with the company, is Tony Khan's greatest accomplishment so far ever as a pro wrestling promoter, booker, whatever you want to call him. This is his greatest accomplishment. If you want to tell Tony Khan what's on your resume, number one on his list is going to be the way he utilized Sting in his run. And the way Sting, they paired him up with somebody like Darby Allin, which made the perfect sense in the world. For that type of combination, you got the veteran who took risks back in the day, still takes risks now, and you pair him with Darby Allin. That's all he does, is take risks. And it was the perfect match. And AEW history, Darby Allin and Sting are going to go down as one of the greatest pairings that Tony Khan ever came up with, and one of the greatest tag teams in AEW history. 27-0 as a tag team was Darby Allin and Sting. And Darby Allin, it feels like he's going to go down as a legend in AEW with the way his career has been booked. And it only feels like there's only one thing left for Darby Allin to do, which is go after that world championship. He did say in an interview that in April he is going to be on his adventure trying to climb Mount Everest. So I'm pretty sure Darby Allin is going to go get probably back surgery, because he went through real glass and nothing was said about the tag team titles in the post-match speech by Sting, but this pay-per-view was easily one of my favorite AEW pay-per-views ever. And it might be top 5, if I'm being honest with you. Those wrestlers left it all out on the line tonight for the fans and for Sting. This show was for Sting, and the wrestlers laid it out all on the line. There was not one bad match on this show besides maybe the Scramble, which that Scramble match didn't need to be on the show now because Sting's pay-per-view time got cut. Could have put that on the pre-show, but I'm not going to argue about it. Revolution was one of the best pay-per-views in AEW history. There is so much that happened on that show tonight. Sting was definitely one of the highlights of that show. We're going to talk about that match and what happened in the match. Sting goes out on top. Sting goes out as a champion. And this is something that I texted one of my friends today. And I'm like, AEW has done this absolutely perfectly for Sting's retirement, to the point where wrestlers in the company and wrestlers possibly outside the company are going to look at this. They're going to be like, Sting had the roadmap for his retirement. He got to pick the opponents he wanted to work with. He wanted to work with the Young Bucks. And wrestlers are going to see this, I think, and they're going to want to finish their career in AEW. Bryan Danielson, one day, is going to finish his career in AEW. Chris Jericho, one day, is going to finish his career in AEW. Eventually, when the time comes, and it's going to be coming sooner rather than later, I think Adam Copeland is going to want to finish his career in AEW. Because look at what AEW did for Sting. You don't think they're going to do it for those guys other? AEW set a great example with Sting to the other legends in the company or outside the company to finish their career the right way, on top, with respect. And I compared it, I think it was yesterday, to back at Kurt Angle with WrestleMania 35 and how WWE horrendously treated Kurt Angle's retirement. The Kurt Angle retirement tour on Monday Night Raw, that was fine. He was having matches with guys like Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Chad Gable. It was great. And they got to WrestleMania. And that was a 6-hour pay-per-view. WrestleMania that year was a 6-hour pay-per-view. And people wanted to see Kurt Angle's last match against John Cena. WWE, Kurt Angle himself, wanted his last match to be against John Cena. WWE wouldn't do that for Kurt Angle. They're like, we'll give you John Cena, but you have to wait to face John Cena. You're going to face Baron Corbin because that's who we want you to wrestle. That's messed up. That's messed up. And Baron Corbin beat him in a terrible match that no one remembered at the end of the show. And they did jack squat with the follow-up with Baron Corbin. Now, what is AEW going to do with the tag team titles? They can simply probably just have a tournament and probably give them those titles to the Young Bucks in that way. I think the Young Bucks are going to get the titles sooner rather than later. But they probably had a back and forth argument, or not an argument, but a conversation. Sting probably wanted to put over the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks wanted to put over Sting in his last match. They eventually went with Sting and Darby Allin going over. Sting went out on top. Sting went out as a champion, and Sting will be a legend forever in the wrestling business. And I'm not saying AEW has to do this in any way. This would be, I don't know if you call it a copycat from WWE, but if AEW one day decided to have a Hall of Fame, again, I'm not saying they have to, but one day, if they decide to have their own Hall of Fame, Steve Borden is the first member of the AEW Hall of Fame. Guaranteed. But that's not the only thing that happened on this incredible pay-per-view. We got the three-way for Samoa Joe, Swerve, and Hangman Page. And the question coming out of it is, did Hangman tap because he couldn't last in the Coquina Clutch? Or did Hangman tap to prevent Swerve from winning the World Heavyweight Championship? That was a really good triple threat match. We are going to talk about that. And as much as I love Sting, and as nearly perfect as he went out with his retirement match, the match of the night was Will Ospreay against Konosuke Takeshita. It was everything you would have expected from a match like that. So we're going to get into it all. And before we do, just want to bring up this one thing. A lot of people had trouble with the Bleacher Report app tonight for this pay-per-view. Now, I had no trouble with it at all. I had no worries because I watched the show on cable. I ordered the pay-per-view on cable for the $50. But most people, they buy the show on Bleacher Report to watch the pay-per-views, and Bleacher Report was buffering, the screen was going back, it was making people repay for the show. It sounded like an absolute mess. And I'm going to say this one time, and one time only. Between that and the pay-per-view cutting off Sting's final speech, AEW, that HBO Max deal cannot come soon enough. It cannot come soon enough, man. So that's all I wanted to say. I had a whole spiel on Sting in the beginning of this review. We're going to go over the entire show. Incredible show tonight. One of, if not my favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time. I'm definitely putting it in my top 5 for sure. And there will be matches on that show that I'm going to want to go back and rewatch. The Ospreay and Takeshita match, Sting's final match, maybe even that Bryan Danielson Eddie Kingston match. Those were my 3 favorite matches of the entire night on that show. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're already 14 minutes into the review. Let's just get into the main card here. The show opened up with Daniel Garcia taking on Christian Cage for the TNT Championship. Now, I had Daniel Garcia winning the TNT Championship tonight thanks to interference from Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland was going to cost not Daniel Garcia. He was going to cost Christian Cage the TNT Championship because I felt like they didn't need the TNT Championship in their third and final match whenever they decide to do it. Whether that's at the Dynasty pay-per-view, which is made official. AEW's next pay-per-view is AEW Dynasty, Sunday, April 21st. So there you go. And AEW just uploaded its own version of the Sting promo. So, luckily I found it. Um, okay, back to the review. Daniel Garcia lost this match. AEW uploaded all of Sting's the Sting post-match promo, post-match speech. Daniel Garcia lost this match because of the number of games were against him. The match was really good. I'm not going to go over it move by move. There's a couple matches I'll go over with the moves that happened. But Daniel Garcia seems like his time is not right now. I personally thought that place would have gone crazy if Garcia won that match and he won the TNT Championship. That place would have gone crazy. That was a hot start to the show, but they opted to go with Christian. He hit the kill switch, and he retained the TNT Championship. I thought the match was very good. But I felt like they could have capitalized on the Daniel Garcia hype train tonight, and they did not. Christian Cage is still your TNT champion. We then go from the TNT Championship to the Continental Crown Championship. Bryan Danielson against Eddie Kingston. This match was awesome, and the story was nice and simple. And for the people that have been invested in it for a couple weeks now, you got rewarded tonight with this story. So we're going to pick it up from here. Both guys are fighting on the outside. Eddie Kingston is giving some stiff chops to Bryan Danielson. And Eddie Kingston, he chops the ring post. So he's now selling his hand. And after that, Bryan Danielson hits a suplex onto the outside on the Eddie Kingston. Moments later, both guys are on the top rope. Bryan hit a butterfly suplex to the ring, to the inside of the ring on Eddie Kingston, and he got that into a submission into the label lock, and Eddie Kingston got out of it. Eddie Kingston then hit a Urigan. He fell down, and Bryan ducked up. Eddie went for a clothesline. Bryan ducked. He hit a running knee onto Eddie Kingston, and Eddie kicked out. And the Greensboro Coliseum popped big for that spot because a lot of people, including myself, thought the match was over when Bryan hit the running knee. Eddie Kingston, this is how the match ended. Eddie hit a half and half. Bryan got up. Bryan hit a half and half. Eddie got up. Eddie, he hit another half and half, and Bryan did not get up this time. And Eddie went for the Urigan. He went for the power bomb, and Eddie pinned Bryan Danielson. And the stipulation for this match was if Bryan lost to Eddie Kingston, Eddie Kingston was going to have to shake his... if Bryan lost to Eddie Kingston, Bryan was going to have to shake his hand. And not only did Bryan Danielson shake his hand, but he shook his hand, he raised his arm, and he led the crowd to chanting Eddie's name. And then after the match, AEW uploads a video of both of them in the trainer's room. Eddie gives his appreciation and his flowers for what Bryan did for him tonight. And Bryan talks an incredible promo about Eddie's past struggles and where he is now. You should check it out. That match, a story like that, that's what AEW is all about. That's why I love AEW. It's because of matches and feuds like Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. And now Bryan has earned the respect of Eddie Kingston. The 8-man scramble, I'm not going to waste my time with this. This was the I don't really care match. Wardlow ended up pinning Dante Martin. It was very obvious that he was winning this match. And after that promo in Tulsa, it was very obvious that he was winning this match. Adam Cole and the Kingdom were already out there. So after Wardlow had become the number one contender for the TNT Championship, this brought out Roderick Strong. And Roderick Strong was challenging Orange Cassidy, the AEW International Championship. And I'm very happy to report that even though I love Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong is the AEW International Champion. This match was very simple. It was good. It wasn't long at all, but it wasn't too short. The match was around 12 minutes. Roderick Strong pins Orange Cassidy with the end of Heartache, and he's the new international champion. Now, while Roddy and the Kingdom, Taven and Bennett, I couldn't think of their names for a minute. I don't know why. But they were celebrating, and someone walks into the ring. And it was Kyle O'Reilly. And I was very happy to see Kyle O'Reilly. He's been out since June of 2022. He's been through a lot since he's been out in the ring in AEW. And he immediately hugged Roderick Strong, but he whispered something in his ear. Then Strong instructed Mike Bennett to take his shirt off and offer it to Kyle O'Reilly to join the Undisputed Kingdom. O'Reilly took the shirt, gave it back to Roderick Strong. So for right now, Kyle O'Reilly is not in the Undisputed Kingdom. For right now. I do think he's going to end up joining the group somehow. Whether they kick out the Kingdom or not, I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to be in Undisputed Kingdom. He fits like a glove with Roderick Strong and with Adam Cole. It would only make sense to put him in that group. Now, here's something that I do want to point out. This is something I want to point out. For weeks now, people were complaining online on their podcast that the Undisputed Kingdom was a dead faction and they had no direction. And these people had zero patience. And I told you in January, they can't really do much now because MJF and Adam Cole are both injured. And in a matter of 2 weeks, they went from having really no direction to their big boy players now. Wardlow is the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. Roderick Strong is now holding the International Championship, and Kyle O'Reilly is back, and he's teasing joining the group now. So now you got Undisputed Kingdom as a priority on AEW television. Wardlow is probably going to be challenging for the world title at the next pay-per-view. Roderick Strong is the new international champion, and we've already got a tease that Kyle O'Reilly is going to join the group. I love it. I love it, man. It's nice and simple. FTR against the Blackpool Combat Club. The match was great. I didn't know how they could top their first match, but they did, in my opinion. They both, or Moxley makes Dax pass out, but they both had chokeholds in on FTR, and FTR, they passed out. So there's that. The match was great, though. I'm not going to go over it move by move. Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm for the Women's Championship. The match was fine for what it was. It wasn't terrible. Definitely felt like a TV match, though. Just my opinion. It wasn't bad, but it just felt like a TV match. And at the end of the day, they did a very TV-ish finish where Deonna had a submission hold on Toni Storm. Luther was distracting the referee. Toni Storm was tapping out. Mariah May got up on the apron. Deonna Purrazzo, like a dumbass, went to go knock down Mariah May. She turned around. Toni Storm kicked her in the stomach, gave her a pile driver, and pinned Deonna Purrazzo to retain the Women's Championship. So, that was your match. And I'll tell you what, this wasn't even the best thing about this whole segment. After Deonna Purrazzo made her Deonna Purrazzo made her entrance, Toni Storm's old music hit. Her old babyface backwards hat, eye black music hit. And she came walking out, but it was Mariah May. And I swear to God, when she first came out, I thought it was actually Toni Storm. That was great. That was great. And she pulled it off perfectly. Still wasn't better than that time. Many, many years ago. When The Miz came out on Monday Night Raw. And he was dressed up as The Rock. And nobody had a damn clue that was The Miz. That was awesome. Again, this was nowhere near that. But this was really, really great as well. But I mean, that's still the best cosplay of a wrestler I've ever seen. Was that time The Miz came dressed out as The Rock on Monday Night Raw. That was awesome. So now we get to a highly anticipated match. And it's Will Ospreay and it's Konosuke Takeshita. And the bell rings and the crowd goes crazy. Kind of like the crowd at Arthur Ashe for Omega and Danielson. So these guys are putting on an absolute classic. We're going to pick it up from here. Ospreay, he bounces off the ropes. He hits a Pele kick onto Takeshita. Ospreay, he hits a dive on the outside to Takeshita, and he lands right on his feet. And Callis goes, "What athleticism from Ospreay." Ospreay, he then gets caught by Takeshita into a flatliner, and then Takeshita, he hits a Claymore kick onto Will Ospreay, followed up by a Tope Suicida to the outside, as Excalibur calls it. Both guys are back in the ring. They are exchanging elbows. Ospreay flips off Takeshita's chest to give a enziguri, and Takeshita immediately picks him up and hits a suplex onto Ospreay, a German suplex. And Ospreay, Takeshita, he runs towards the ropes, and Ospreay hits a Spanish fly onto Konosuke Takeshita, and the crowd is on their feet. That exchange, wow, beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff. Both guys are in the ring. Ospreay goes for the Tiger Driver. Takeshita escapes. He catches Ospreay. He has him in a tombstone position, it looks like. The ref goes for the cover. He goes for the count. Takeshita, he hits another German suplex onto Ospreay. Ospreay, he no-sells this. He hits a forearm elbow to Takeshita, and Takeshita kicks out at 1. Callis is going nuts. Excalibur is going crazy. The Greensboro Coliseum is standing on their feet. I bet you if I asked Cameron Johnson what's the most insane match he's ever seen, this would be the match. He was at the show tonight. Takeshita, then they're hitting knees, and Ospreay, he eventually wins the match with the hidden blade. And they are in the match. Callis is in the ring, greeting both guys, and Kyle Fletcher comes into the ring, and it's announced that Wednesday on Dynamite, it will be Kyle Fletcher against Will Ospreay, which I'm very, very excited. Very, very excited for. It's just getting back to a text message real quick. We go from that to the World Championship. And we all know the story of this match. It was between Swerve and Hangman. This was Hangman, Swerve, and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe retained the AEW World Championship, and rightfully so. There's no way Samoa Joe should have dropped the World Championship this soon. The right guy won. Hangman was the story of the match. This guy was unhinged. He tried everything he possibly could to prevent Swerve Strickland from winning the World Championship. He took out 2 officials. He took out Paul Turner, and he took out Bryce Remsburg. He actually started beating up Bryce Remsburg. He hit Swerve twice in the head with the World Championship. It was then between Samoa Joe and Hangman. Hangman got caught. He got put in the Coquina clutch. And it seemed like as Swerve was about to get in the ring, Hangman tapped. And I don't know if Hangman saw Swerve or not, but they played it off on commentary like the question coming out of this match is, was Hangman tapping out because he couldn't last in the Coquina clutch anymore? Or was he tapping out so that Swerve couldn't break it up and have a chance at the World Championship? So that's the question going into, I guess, Dynamite on Wednesday. I think we're getting another match. I think the story for now, Samoa Joe is going to go do his thing with Wardlow, which I don't know how they're going to play off the dynamic of a heel versus heel feud. That will be very challenging, and we're not going to talk about it tonight. We'll probably talk about it on Wednesday and other episodes, other reviews that we do for Dynamite. But that's a very challenging task for Tony Khan to pull off a heel versus heel feud for the World Championship. But we know at some point this year, Swerve is going to be the world champion. It's just a matter of when. And the story is now going to be that in order for Swerve to continue his quest to the World Championship, he has to take out Hangman Adam Page once and for all. And they're going to have a match at Dynasty on pay-per-view one last time. And that should probably main event that show. I don't know what stipulation they're going to do, but the final pay-per-view match between Swerve and Hangman Page, that's your main event for Dynasty. And then we get Swerve against Samoa Joe at Double or Nothing, and Swerve wins the World Championship. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking happens here. The main event. I forgot Ricky Steamboat was out there as well. Sting had the best entrance I've ever seen since Bad Bunny at Backlash last year. I'm pretty sure his entrance was directed by Darby Allin. And then for the actual entrance, the video package directed by Darby Allin. The actual entrance, you had his two sons dressed up as former as NWO Sting and very beginning of his career Sting in Japan. I think, I don't know. I'm sorry if I miscorrected. I'm sorry. But his sons were involved in the match in the beginning, giving Stinger splashes to both Bucks. I won't be surprised in the near future if they're wrestlers in AEW. Wouldn't be surprised about that at all. So now this is when the match really begins. You got tables everywhere. You got chairs. You got glass. Sting gives a back body drop to Matt Jackson. And Darby Allin jumps off the top rope to the outside to hit a coffin drop on the Jacksons. Now these guys are fighting on stage, and Nicholas hit a Falcon Arrow onto Darby Allin on the outside through two tables. And on the other side of the stage, Matt Jackson, he hit a suplex through two tables to Sting. And Tony Schiavone and JR, which I was really happy that JR was able to get to Greensboro to call Sting's final match. That's a very special moment for JR, I can imagine. But they are acting like Sting is done. And Sting is not going to get up for the rest of this match after he just got suplexed through two tables. So Sting is taken out. Darby Allin is fighting the Jacksons all by himself. And I just clicked out of my thing, damn it. Darby Allin is fighting the Jacksons all by himself. He's got a deck of chairs, 6 chairs, and in between it is glass. Now, I don't know if this is real glass or not, but Darby Allin. The more I see and the more I watch Darby Allin, he is our modern day version of Jeff Hardy. This motherfucker hits a swanton on the top of the ladder through the glass. And after that, he was out for most of this match. And he probably thought, fuck it. It's Sting's last match. I'm going to do one of the most insane things ever. I'm going to go out and fucking put my body on the line. I'm going to do this to take myself out of the match and let Sting have his moment. And Sting got power bombed through a table, and he got back up immediately, and he gave a double clothesline to the Young Bucks. He got thrown into a glass door. He got hit with 2 EVP triggers, and he kicked out. And then Ric Flair got in the ring. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. He's covering Sting. He's protecting Sting from an attack from the Jacksons. So what happens? Flair takes a super kick. And now they're going for the now called Tony Khan driver onto Sting. And Darby Allin, he pushes Nicholas through a table, and Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop onto Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson kicks out. He now puts in the Scorpion Death Lock, and Matt Jackson taps out. Sting is emotional. They're panning the camera to emotional people in the crowd. What a scene in Greensboro, North Carolina tonight. Incredible pay-per-view. What will go down as one of the best AEW shows ever, in my opinion. We have two matches that fans will go back and watch for a very long time, which is Will Ospreay and Takeshita, and this match with Sting. And again, I said it in the opening, and I'll say it again. I am so happy that Tony Khan and AEW let this man go out on his own terms. I haven't seen a lot of retirement matches in my life. I'll give an example. As I said earlier, Kurt Angle's retirement match was terrible. Ric Flair's retirement match was great with Shawn Michaels, but his ego ruined it, and it was a shit fest, and he passed out in the match with the Jim Crockett Promotions. The Undertaker went out on a great match at WrestleMania 36, but that match ended up happening in a global pandemic. Still a great match, but I can't imagine that's how he wanted to go out. But the best retirement match that I've ever seen, ever, was tonight. And Sting's retirement match against the Young Bucks was the best retirement match for a pro wrestler that I've ever seen in my young life. So, that's all I got. Thank you, Sting. Your 3-year run in AEW. Absolutely going to be unforgettable. I have a Sting shirt upstairs. I'm keeping it forever. I'm keeping it forever, man. I love Sting. He's going to go down as one of my all-time favorites. And I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice. It's been a long night, but it was worth it. This pay-per-view was worth it. It was worth the $50. And what a night. What a night, man. I fucking love pro wrestling. Thank you guys for joining me. Subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. I'm going to be taking a break. Not a break, but we're going to be back Wednesday with Dynamite. There's so much to catch up on with WWE. I wanted to do a video this weekend, but I was so goddamn exhausted from Friday. I put it out on Twitter. I haven't said it here. I started a new job this week as a assistant teacher at an elementary school. I absolutely love it. I was exhausted on Friday, though, so I didn't want to do a video after a very long day. Maybe tomorrow night, I'll see. We can talk. We could chop it up about WWE tomorrow night, maybe Tuesday night as well. But Wednesday, we will do the Dynamite review on Wednesday. We'll be sure to do a video on Friday now because I think that tag team match with Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman is going to be made official on SmackDown Friday. And then I go to Florida. I'm going on a vacation for 6 days in Florida, and I haven't decided if I'm going to film or not. I haven't decided, but I'm getting out of here. I'm so tired. I'll see you in the next video. Probably Tuesday night. So, Maybe no, I scratched that. Tomorrow night, tomorrow sometime. I don't know. I'll let you know on Twitter. I'm out. Peace. I'm out.